Slowhands Rock Talk Show.
It's pretty cool. But Beth, thank you so much for making a little bit of time out of your evening to come on to the podcast and speak to myself about all things music. As I just said there, we'll speak about music, we'll speak about your career, we'll speak about YouTube and everything else that fits in between. But before we actually get started, how are you actually doing?
Yeah, good. As I just said, it's very hot here, so we're in a heat wave. I think heat wave number 4. So mostly that is my main emotion right now, is overheated.
How unusual is it to say that, being in Scotland as well?
Yeah. It's unusual. It's been too much this summer.
I know. But as I was saying, obviously, we'll talk about YouTube. That's obviously where I was first introduced to yourself. But with all the guests, I'll go back to the very beginning. So where originally are you from?
I'm from Perth. So, I guess a lot of people on your podcast will know where that is, but everyone always asks me. So it's kind of central east.
Yeah. And if you're a musician or in a band or have your own business and you're looking for a professional website to be built at an affordable cost, then look no further. Today's episode is sponsored by Nova Web Design. Nova Web Design specialises in creating luxury branding and web design that will make your business shine online. Whether you're a musician, playing in a band, blogger, consultant, designer, stylist, whatever your background is, Nova Web Design will help transform your business. They understand the specific challenges you face in standing out in the digital world, and through collaborating with you closely, they will help you to create a captivating online presence. It's as simple as that, so check out Nova Web Design at novawebdesign.ie and start your journey today. Now back to the video. Luckily, I don't know too much about yourself. I've purposely not looked up anything, because I know you've done other podcasts, because the whole point in the podcast is to find out about yourself. But were you exposed to music from a young age? And if so, where did that come from? Was that parents, siblings, friends, or was it not something that was apparent early on?
I was always a child that sung. So when my mum always said I would sing before I spoke, I was one of those kids that I just made a sound and it would be a little melody. And she has this little thing. My dad was in the army and she has this little recording of me as a kid singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. She's like, couldn't speak. You could sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star without the words. So that was totally my thing. But my mom's a doctor, dad was in the army, not artistic at all. That's not really their thing. And they just were really supportive of it. So the whole way through, fairly early on, I got some music lessons at school and things like that. So I learned saxophone when I was at school.
Well, I was going to say the music lessons I know that you're known as a singer, but was it saxophone first?
Yeah, it was. It was saxophone, and then I did a little bit of piano, but mostly I taught myself pianos, and very badly. I'm not a pianist. I'm just a can get by sort of person. And singing always came along. I did have some singing lessons in my teens, but it wasn't until I left school that I went into studying musical theatre, actually. Yeah.
So here's a question. Again, I ask everyone this, whether they're a musician or not. And it's interesting because regardless of where you are in the world, a lot of the answers are similar. And it's, what age did you discover your own musical taste? And who were some of the bands or artists that you discovered, that you remember discovering for yourself?
Oh, my own musical taste. You know, it was a weird time growing up because my mum had musicals. So she was listening to Les Mis, and my dad was listening to Meatloaf and Queen, right? So that was what I grew up on. And then it kind of, it's your teens, isn't it? You know what? It was MySpace. It was fully MySpace and all that sort of era. And just searching for different artists. And at the time, I've been always into a very wide variety of music. So I'd be listening to Destiny's Child, then Imogen Heap, then the Distillers and Korn. So it was just this massive range of music all the time.
And for those watching that aren't aware of what MySpace is. So MySpace was basically Facebook before Facebook existed. So I remember MySpace was really good. I played in a band briefly back when MySpace was the big social media platform, and it was great because if you had a band page, there was like a little radio icon at the top of the page, and so you could maybe upload 2 or 3 of your band songs or maybe your favourite artists, and then you could obviously link in everyone's individual profile to it. It was quite a cool platform, and it was really successful for a good few years, and then I think Facebook took off and that kind of just blew everything else probably out the water. But what you were saying there is the same as what most people say. It's usually their sort of teen years going to high school that they all of a sudden discover whatever the band or artist might be, that it puts them on a different course, and it's really cool. I was listening to some of your podcasts, some of your videos, and I'm like, you should never ask a woman this question. I'm like, what? I wonder what age Beth is. I don't think you're as old as myself, but would I be right in saying are you sort of 30 in your 30s?
I'm 36.
The reason that I asked this is I've had people on before. I had a young girl on before, and I thought she was older than she was, and it turned out she was early 20s, and that completely changes how she approached music, because depending on what age you are, you're of the generation where you had to go to the music shop to buy music, or you're of the generation where it's always been available from the internet, whether it be MP3s, YouTube, and obviously nowadays you've got it from the comfort of your phone. It's so easy to access music, and it's a double-edged sword because in some ways it's amazing. You can find any music from around the world that previously you would never have been exposed to, but at the same time, I don't think people appreciate music as much, because back when we were younger, you maybe only had 10 albums, but you knew the albums inside out.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It's almost like you studied them because you didn't have this unlimited choice.
Absolutely.
But it's also quite cool that you do have unlimited choice now.
Yeah, it's a real mix, and I think even for musicians there's a pro and con, because like you'll make an album and then the album people are just cutting up into like little bits, right? And it's not like the same as it perhaps was. And I was definitely of that era where you bought your CD, you listened to the album the whole way through, you have like your random track that's like track number 5 that isn't even the main track that you love as well, and you just don't get to hear those tracks anymore because it's not on the Spotify like playlists anymore.
Give me a laugh. I'll see if you're brave enough to admit the truth here. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Okay, actually, this is... Okay, I'll tell you the embarrassing one, and then I'll tell you the album, because the single was embarrassing. I bought DJ Sammy. She did Heaven. She did a cover of Heaven, right? Was my first single, but Evanescence was actually my first, that big Evanescence album. And I went into HMV at the time, and then the guy there was like... I think I didn't like, maybe I had some Now CDs, to be fair. I think I had the Now CDs before that. And then he was like, you should listen to this. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a go. And then I bought that album and I was like, well, there we go.
They were such a, I mean, they're still on the go, but they were a unique band because there wasn't other bands like them at the time. So there was other rock bands, metal bands with female singers, but they were trying to sing like the guys, see, like when it's like the real shouting. Whereas she had like such a great singing voice, and she actually wasn't afraid to sing. It was like rocking, but it was also melodic, and it was different at the time. And there's so many people have copied it since. You know?
But her voice is still very unique. Like you hear her and you know it's her. It's so unique, her voice. And I think that it was a real a real change of music at that time, especially like combining, like there's a combination of different styles. Like it was kind of metally, it was kind of like I don't know, like it had like some electronic elements, it had some classical elements. Her voice was like super ethereal and beautiful, but then also she could totally rock out at the same time. It was a really cool contrast.
Because she also had the piano, it added another element that was maybe missing from other musics where it's normally the guitars, drums, the piano was at the forefront.
Yeah.
And gave it like a gothic feel.
Yeah.
Almost. But what was similar to the last question, what was the first professional concert that you ever attended? And where was it?
It was at the SECC in Glasgow, and it was Sum 41.
Right. So would that have been 2000-ish?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know. I was young. I lost my shoe. I remember that. I got right in the middle of like the mosh pit of it. It was even a mosh pit for that, I don't know. But like everyone was going to be mental. I lost my shoe, and I remember just being like, "This is the best thing ever."
I always walk out of gigs, and you do always see a shoe, and I always wondered to myself, who is the person that has left their shoe that is walking home with one shoe on?
It's me.
A story to that. My cousin went to the Barras to see Motorhead.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You will have seen this at gigs as well. Obviously, the Barras, it gets really warm. So top off, away into the mosh pit. And he threw his top away. And at the end, when the lights come on, everybody's kind of trying to get to the exit. He found his T-shirt and he wrung it out and then he put it back on again.
Oh, that's amazing. He managed to get it.
I know, the joys of alcohol. But saxophone, you sat on the saxophone.
Yeah.
Do you still play it?
No, not very much.
No.
You know what? My first professional job I had to play saxophone for it, and then I just have been doing singing stuff, so that's where it's ended up going with me.
So obviously you are a singer, you're a vocal coach. What makes a good singer?
I knew you'd ask that. I think that is very personal, but I believe that there's like 3 main core elements to that. And the first one is the one that you're going to expect from me. Well, all of them hint at one thing. You have to make the audience feel something.
Yeah.
If you're not making the audience feel something, there's nothing left. But the first one is the technical prowess. If you are wildly technical and everyone's like in complete awe of you, then it could be like singing crazy high notes or doing riffs and runs. That can be a way of doing that.
Yep.
The second one is storytelling. So think of Bob Dylan in the way of connecting with an audience and taking them on a journey and making them think about life in a way that they haven't thought about before.
Yep.
And then the third one, I think, is the top one for me, and my favorite one is emotion. And that is people who are able to express emotion and make you feel like the emotions that you're feeling, that you're not the only one who feels that emotion. And there's some people who just connect so well. And I think that basically any of the great singers have all of them, but to like a really high standard, let's say 80% out of 100, but often they will have one spike, right? So if you're looking at Dimash, if you know who Dimash is, he's this wild Kazakhstani singer who like can sing all these super high notes. He sounds like an alien, and you're just like, how is that even possible? He's so technically proficient. That's his thing. Kurt Cobain, he's all about the emotion, right? He is obviously technical, he can tell stories, but the emotion is the thing that captures you. And then Bob Dylan, he's your storyteller, and the other ones are slightly lower. So, and then maybe like Freddie Mercury's like all 3, but maybe he's not quite as high as the other 3 on all of them, but he sits really high on it all.
I always find the vocals is a weird one, because I play guitar, I sing. I would always say I'm a guitarist first before I'm a singer, but I can sing. I don't know if I'm great, but I know what I'm capable of doing, and I know I can work within my boundary. and I think I'm pretty decent with it, with what I know. But it's interesting because if you play the guitar, for example, especially nowadays, you go onto YouTube. How do you learn how to play whatever? There's a million lessons out there telling you how to play the guitar, where to put your fingers, how to do the chords. You can have people show you how to do it. It's the same with the drums. It's the same with the bass, the piano. Vocals as an instrument is completely different from every other instrument because obviously you need to have the ability to sing. I think you need to also be able to listen, which a lot of people don't. The one element as well, I think, is a hard one, is the confidence side of it, because see the amount of people I've seen that they are a great singer, but if you don't have the confidence behind it, it can hold them back. But it's really hard to teach somebody confidence. You can teach them every other part of it, but how do you teach somebody confidence? Sometimes it's just they've either got to have the courage to just stand in front of that microphone and go for it, but you'll know yourself. It's not like the first time you done it, you were great. It takes lots of practice and then you get more comfortable. It's a tough one, and you hear a lot of people that play in bands, they'll say, we were not going to be an instrumental band, so we needed someone to sing, and I was the bravest person to stand in front of the microphone, But you see them singing now compared to 20 or 30 years ago, and their voice has changed over time, and they're better at it. They know what they're capable of doing. But singing is I think singing's I don't think people realise how tough it is, because it's like anything. If you're really good at it, you make it look easy.
Yes, yeah.
But it's almost like a battle with your mind as well as your ability, because it's hard to teach someone to sing, because part of it is not the ability. Part of it, I think, probably comes down to, you'll probably know better than myself, but having the courage to do it. And some people, that holds them back. It's a shame. But if you're playing in a band, for example, if you play the drums, you can hide behind the drum kit. If you're playing the guitar, you can look at the guitar. But if you're a vocalist, you are eye to eye, you're face to face with your audience, and that's tough. But
and it's your sense of self. Like, you feel like it's you, right?
Yep.
So it feels like, I don't know. You can say like, oh, my guitar, a string's broke, or I don't know. There's lots of things you can blame it on the guitar. Things go wrong, and it's kind of separate from you. But when you're like, right, I didn't hit that note how I wanted to, it's like I didn't hit that note how I wanted to, so it feels different. I think that singing is equally mental as it is technical and physical, and I think there's a reason that sometimes you see people who have had a lot of hardship go into singing, and I think that's because if you find your safe space in singing, then you will keep on doing it, and you will, like Kurt Cobain found his safe space in singing. Most people don't find it there. They find singing like their selves, their body finds singing a dangerous space because you're facing against people. So that is a tricky thing to overcome, but it totally can be overcome. I have to say, working on your mind and your mindset is one of the greatest things you can do for singing beyond technicality. So even, and people don't always like this, but like one of the major things that's helped me is like going to therapy and learning about myself. And that switch, I started finding places in my voice that I had been holding back from, because I'd been working out a lot of the underlying emotions. And that's a big thing. And it's not necessarily, singing teachers are not trained to deal with, like, the psychology of humans, but it makes a massive difference. And for us, we're kind of, like, balancing on the edge of that a lot of times and trying to help people with some mental tools that will help them. But, I'll often say, like, if there's something that's like really holding you back, go to therapy, talk it through. And I really feel like, we have sports psychologists. Why don't we have music performance psychologists? Like, that should be a thing, because in sports, we know that's 50% of how you're going to get the outcome. It's exactly the same for musicians.
You read someone's lyrics sometimes, you know that person has got something on their mind.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's funny as well though, because people will automatically compare themselves.
Yes.
So if you're wanting to form a rock band and you look at Metallica, the biggest rock band in the world, and you go, James Hetfield, he's an amazing singer. Yeah, but he wasn't amazing when he started.
No.
And if you listen to Metallica, he still hadn't found his voice 7 or 8 years. And, he only found his voice kind of around the 90s, and he would probably admit that himself.
Yeah.
But you just see almost like the final product. And then there's those annoying singers like Steve Tyler from Aerosmith and, Bryan Adams, people that I don't think it happens too often, but there are certain individuals that are just born with just this annoying ability to have the best voice you've ever heard, but it happens too often.
Yeah, I don't think that it is as common as you think. And often when you find out about those backstories, you find out like, oh, actually you grew up in this environment, and like a lot of the vocal training and stuff happened just really early. So for example, everyone's like, oh, Whitney Houston, this amazing vocal talent. She grew up with like Aretha Franklin. Of course, right? If you grow up and she's come around to your house once a week and she's one of the greatest singers alive, of course you're going to end up with that, right? And we don't...
Someone talking about Jim Morrison from The Doors.
Yeah.
Great baritone voice, obviously influenced by the people of his generation, Frank Sinatra, Elvis. But you've also got to remember his career was 5 years at the most. Yeah. So he didn't get a chance to blow his voice out because he was already gone before he even got started, which is a shame. But going back to yourself, you kind of tiptoed around this just a little bit earlier. What was your plan when leaving school? What was this is what I want to do with my life?
So at that point, I wanted to do musical theatre, and I did. I moved down to London and I studied musical theatre.
Yep.
And I was lucky enough to come straight out and go on a tour. So I went on a tour around the UK, and it was a 60s rock musical that I did. And then I did it in the West End. And actually, through doing that, one of the main things that I found, musical theatre is tough. It's a lot of rejection, and that's when I was like, I don't know if this is where I want to go and what I want to do.
I'm obviously a big rocker, but I actually know a lot about the theatre world because my sister is in the theatre world. So she's similar to yourself. She's done the West End. She's done the UK tours, the European tours. Her husband was also in the West End. They're a bit old. They're older than myself, so she's transitioned over to choreography now.
Right.
So she's choreography for the West End, and her husband's kind of transitioning over to acting.
Right.
But for I don't know, she joined Grease the musical when she was 19 or 20, and I think the last thing she was in was maybe in her 40s, like a few years ago, and she done the list is endless, but it's a hard game, and because I work a normal 9-5 Monday to Friday job, so it's the normal setup as most other people. You get your paycheck at the end of the month. It terrifies me when you're constantly looking for work and there's gaps and you don't know where the next paycheck's coming from, and you've maybe got a contract that's only a year long, and that
or less.
It's a tough game. I mean, it's also rewarding. I mean, I can remember speaking to my sister, and her job is essentially what was initially her hobby. There's not a lot of people get to see that they done that, and every single night going on stage in front of a live audience. Yes, some are better than others depending on what city you're in, but it's a privilege to step on that stage, and I know that she enjoyed every single minute of it, but she also worked her arse off to get there. And it's a tough game, especially if she was doing dancing as well as singing. To try and get through it without injuries and all that sort of stuff as well. But what would you have said was, what comes to mind, what's the best thing about being in the theatre world, and what's one of the most difficult things?
The best thing is just kind of what you said, like you're living out. I actually really enjoy singing as a character. I think that also is quite helpful when you are nervous. You just switch it off, you're someone else, you go and sing like them. Whereas you don't, it became much more nerve-wracking for me when I started singing as me. So I really enjoyed that, and it is just a lot of fun. But as you say, the work is inconsistent. There's a lot of rejections. You're doing auditions all the time, and you're getting lots and lots of no's. 9 times out of 10, you're getting a no. So it's and that can be quite hard, especially when you're young. I think if all your self-worth is on your acting and on your singing and on that career, it's really really tough. And also, I think people think that it's really well paid, and it's really not.
Yeah, well, especially if you're in London, because it's so expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
But I had on the podcast a few episodes ago Darren Brownlee, who is in River City, but he's one of the big stars for the Panto at the King's Theatre every year.
Yeah, okay.
So himself, Johnny McAlee and C. Smith. My sister's the one that does the choreography every year. And that's what he was saying. I think Pantos, they start November time, go through to January, so it's about 3 months. But he's saying it is hard going, and obviously you've got matinee performances as well. You've got to keep the same energy up. If you're maybe not feeling a bit tired, not feeling too great, you've got to give 110% every time you walk out on that stage. And
absolutely,
as I say, I don't think people appreciate it because they make it look easy.
Yeah, and you can't have a bad day. You can't really be like, I'm a bit tired today, I'm going to phone it in. Whereas like normally people with their jobs, you can have a bit of a relaxed day or whatever. Every day you've got to like be on the game.
Just a very quick message to say thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any future videos, like and leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the episode and give me some suggestions on who I should interview in the future. Back to the video. Did the vocal coach thing come around after you'd finished with the theatre world?
It was it was a slow burn into it. So I was kind of doing a bit of coaching on the side in between like jobs and things like that. Yeah. And then I actually went into musical direction. So I was like teaching, I was creating shows for cruise ships and creating the vocal arrangements and then teaching them to the cast and sending out onto the cruise ships. So I was working for a company doing that. And then in the evenings, I would still do it. So it was always like kind of bubbling underneath. And when I left that job, I like fully spent some time properly training and then was like, I want to do this properly. And then that's also when I started the YouTube.
So I was going to say, did that turn into your full-time job, being a voice coach?
Yeah. That's when I fully went into that after the musical direction.
And see when you started YouTube around the same time?
Yeah.
So what year was that? When was it did you start YouTube? And what was the initial reason for starting it?
So it was 6 years ago, and it was I think I've been coaching like kind of full time for like over like a year and a half maybe, and that's when I kind of went and did this. And I'd left this job and I was kind of like, right, I'm going to need to think about getting a few more clients was part of it. So I did not expect this thing to take off. I was just making some fun videos.
Was it always reaction videos, or did it evolve into that? Did it start as something?
Evolved, yeah. So it started off as like I was doing breakdowns of songs that my students were doing.
Right. Okay.
And then I was like just showing them like, this is how you do this bit, this is how you do this bit, let's work all this out, and then sending it to them. And then I was like putting them out on the channel as like a thing. Yeah. And then one of my friends like loves reaction videos, so she's like, oh, you should do a vocal coach version of that. So then I was like, I'll give it a go. And I didn't really expect it. I just thought, and literally I think that first one, it got something like 10,000 views. And the other ones I've been getting like maybe 1,000, which was still, I thought, pretty good at the time, right? Because I had no idea about it. And I was like, whoa. And so I did a few more, and then one suddenly got like 30,000, and I was like, okay, this is a thing. Oh my God, I didn't have lights, I didn't have anything, I was just doing it on my phone. It was all like horrible quality, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to try and sort this out. So it was kind of an accidental start.
What was the first video you put up that got some proper views?
It was a Filipino artist called Marcelito Pomoy, and he was doing this version of the prayer that Celine... so he was singing like both the female and the male parts of it. So and switching between the two different parts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I watched something just the other day, and it was someone talking about people wanting to start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And it was, what is the biggest reason for a YouTube channel failing? And they'd said that, I'd never heard of this person, but supposedly the most successful YouTuber is someone called Mr. Beast.
Yeah, Mr. Beast.
And but I said this to my daughter, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I know him. He does all these things and stuff."
Yeah.
But they'd said, he's making money aside, and that he's obviously extremely successful. But they're saying his channel, he'd done over 300 videos, and it had been going for 2 years before it took off.
Yeah.
But most people who tried to do a YouTube channel stop within the first year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they give up because it's either it's not taken off, or it's, it can be difficult to create weekly content.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
I think he was obsessed with it. He was obsessed with YouTube. Yeah. I had, I'm of the era where YouTube had just started, and, I remember YouTube not being a thing. So me and my friend used to watch it when it first started, and that would be that, these new people that it was like an amazing thing at the time that I loved, because it was like this way into people's lives, I guess, and you used to watch like vlogs and things like that, and it's completely transformed since those early days. But mine was pure accidental luck, and then when that opportunity came around, I kept on going. I just made a bunch of videos.
Yeah, and it's funny what you say, because like this is still a small channel. But I do it in seasons, so I'll do 30 episodes per season. This is season 4 that we're doing, and but you see, as I look back on each season, you see it getting better and better. Like when you first start, as you say, it's just using your phone. The light's not great, the sound's not too good, and then season 2 comes around, all of a sudden your sound, it sounds a bit better, it looks a little bit better. Season 3, all of a sudden you've got lights and you can actually see your face on camera, and I suppose that's the whole point, and that is that it continues to get better as it goes, but it's a difficult one to do. But I was trying to remember, how did I come across yourself? And I can only think because obviously there's quite a lot of reaction videos, and it's I was wondering, why do people like reaction videos? Why do I like them? And I'm thinking, well, it's probably because it's like watching somebody discover your favourite band or your favourite song for the first time, and they appreciate it. It's nice seeing it from a vocal coach point of view, because you do approach it slightly different, because you're talking about what is the singer actually doing. And but I can only think that you must have came up on my feed, because I was watching lots of different reaction videos. I don't know if it was maybe Metallica that came up because I like Metallica, something like that. But you then obviously you go, I like that video, and then go down, right, what other videos has this girl done? And you start flicking through them. I like that song, I like that band, and it's like a rabbit hole. You just go down it, and it's cool. But how many videos have you done by this point? Do you know?
Yeah, like 1,700.
Wow. And do you edit it all yourself and put it up?
Not anymore. This year has been a big change, actually, because it started for the first, let's say 5 years. It's been all me, like everything. And in the last year, then I have ended up getting a couple of editors on board who switch between stuff, and they've been really great. You know, one of the things that I learned a lot this year is that by trying to do all the things myself and like keep costs down and things like that, I was so spread thin that I could never put 100% into anything.
Right, okay.
And so now I feel like I've got to this point where I'm like, cool, I can just pass this on to this person and pass this on to this person. And then, of course, they send the edits back and it's all checked and things. But so I've got those two working for me, and it has, made the world of difference. And it's made the world of difference in the quality of the videos as well.
But I'm assuming you can probably generate more videos because you're only focusing on the video itself, and then you hand it off for someone else to piece it all together.
You would say that, but I tend to add complications into things as soon as I'm like, oh yeah, so you're an editor and you can do this fancy thing, so do the fancy thing and then add another thing to it. So that's going to take you another 2 more hours. So I'm I'm always adding.
And the other thing that people maybe don't know about yourself, but you also release your own music.
Yes.
But I had a wee look, 5 singles in 2023.
Yeah.
You had 4 singles in 2024. 2025, there is no singles. What's happened?
Well, it's all part of an album, and it's just been really busy. That's all. So there's still the completion of the end of the album. So that is out on like Spotify and things like that, but not in terms of videos on YouTube. So
are you recording everything yourself?
I did it in collaboration with a producer called Roy Kerr, and I wrote everything and made my own basic production, and then together we fleshed it out, and then that's how it's gone. Yeah.
How do you like to record then? Well, or first of all, what's your songwriting process? So do you come up with music first and do the lyrics come last?
It really depends. I have a brain like a spider web, so everything is very circumstantial and not very linear. And it can be lyrics, it can be a sound, it can be like, I found a sound that I think would be cool in the production, and then I start making a track and then put the stuff on top. It really is absolutely chaotic.
I mean, the great thing about music, there isn't a right or a wrong answer, but I always find it fascinating because different musicians have different ways of doing them. Me personally, it's generally the music that comes first. I'll have a vocal melody idea, but the lyrics usually come last.
Okay.
But there's other people, though, that it's always lyrics first. I find that difficult. Occasionally I'll write the lyrics of a song down. Very rarely does it turn into a song, though, because I can't put music to lyrics that are already done. But there's other people, they swear by it. That is the way they do it. Yeah. There's other people that like to collaborate with the lyric side of things. Other people they'll share the music, but they like the lyrics just to be them. Yeah. And then lyrics is a fascinating one as well, because, for example, your lyrics, if I was to just read them, would I know exactly what you're talking about, or do you like to be a little bit more vague?
I think they're probably slightly more vague. Depends on the song. But I wouldn't say it's like on the nose, for sure.
But the interesting thing as well, you can go and take one of those songs from 2023. You can listen to it. You'll remember what inspired you to write those lyrics. Yeah. But over time, the meaning can change. That's the fascinating thing as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you hear it with a lot of bands as well. Something that came from maybe a dark place, over time, it can mean change, it can mean something different. And then, of course, it can mean something completely different to whoever's listening to it.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I love about that as well. And I like, there's a song that I have called Lead Me From the Forest, and someone said, oh, it reminds me of my country, Colombia. And I was like, I've never been to Colombia, but I love that is a thing, you know?
I don't know if you've ever heard Pearl Jam, the song Alive.
Yes, I have heard the song Alive.
Yeah. So that song was written by the singer, and he said it was a really dark place from his sort of childhood. And I think the basic story is that his parents split up when he was younger, but he didn't realise this. So he had a stepdad, but there was a family friend who it turned out was actually his dad, but he didn't find out until he passed away. So that kind of inspired the song. So it was a really dark place. But he says 30 years later, when they perform the song and everyone's singing I'm Still Alive, he says back then it used to be almost like a curse. You know, I'm still alive, and you know the father's dead, and he says now it's almost like a celebration. You know, it's completely changed over the 30 years. That's why it's really cool music.
Yeah,
fascinating how and it can mean something different. Noel Gallagher from Oasis, someone had said to him, "What does Champagne Supernova mean?"
Yeah,
and he said, I've no idea. He says, it's not up to me to tell you what it means. He says, I don't know what it means, but he says, when I perform it and 50,000 people sing it back to me, it means something to every one of them. He says, that's all that matters. You know, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating one. But for anybody that is wanting to get into singing, fancies trying singing, writing their own songs, what advice would you give to them starting out?
If they want to do it professionally or they just want to do it for fun.
Even if it's just dipping their toe in the water, just to try it.
Just try it. Just go for it. Go for it and take baby steps. I think people often feel like it has to be perfect, and that's one of the things that stop people getting out there. They go and think like, I have to be like my favourite singer.
Yeah.
You're never going to start out like your favourite singer, especially if you've not sung for a long time. We all probably sung when we were kids, but a lot of people get into adulthood and haven't sung for 10, 20 years, right? Mm-hmm. And your voice might not feel like it works the way you want it to straight away, but that doesn't mean that it won't. As you move along, you'll learn it, and you'll learn your voice like you learn an instrument. You just can't see it like you can see the instrument.
I don't know where you're currently based, but since we came out of COVID, I'm sort of between Glasgow and Edinburgh. I'm near Stirling.
Yeah.
And since we came out of COVID, there's been this huge push for open mic nights in pubs. A lot of local musicians put them on, and I always avoided them because I already know how to play, I already know how to sing, I'm already doing gigs. So I'm a bit like partly busy and partly like, why would I go along to it? Because that's more for people who want to maybe give it a shot. But I went along, my friend was putting one on, a night on, I said, all right, I'll come along just to see it, and you know, I can get up and play a few songs if you're stuck for people to play. And it was brilliant. And you know, it's like no judgment. People get up, they're maybe not 100% confident, or they're not as good in the guitar as maybe other people, but it's full of encouragement. Nobody cares. It's the fact that, you know, standing up and performing in front of people is a difficult thing to do. And I do take my hat off to anybody that gives it a try. They might not even be that good, but you know, the fact that they got up to do it, it speaks a lot about the person.
It does. It takes a lot of bravery. It feels like because your voice, as I said, it's about your identity. It is also like your way of communicating. So sometimes when you don't feel like you've got control, it's like you're miscommunicating, and that's obviously quite scary thought in itself. Yeah. But the only way to learn it is to get up and do it. And you know what, at these open mics and stuff, people are way more understanding, and a lot of people are like super encouraging. And I think that once you give it a go, you'll find it's like way less scary than you think. Yeah. You just got to jump in as much as you can.
What advice for anybody thinking about doing the whole content creating?
You have to be really consistent and keep on going and just make little tweaks as you go. So I think that's actually where the consistency is. Like start from nowhere. Start with your phone and then change one thing. And each time just change one thing. And just as you go, it'll build and build and build, and you'll get better and better. It might just be, today I'm going to think a little bit about how I'm going to express myself. Can I be a little bit clearer? You know, should I make a little note in bullet points to help me? Anything like that.
Yep. And obviously, vocal coach, singer, content creator. What do you if someone was to say to you, Beth, what do you do? What would be your reply?
Oh, I hate that because I'm always like, I don't know. My answer is, no, I normally say coaching. I normally say vocal coaching. I think content creator is kind of a funny one because it always comes along with a certain amount of connotations sometimes.
Although, apologies, I completely forgot to say congratulations because you hit 1 million subscribers.
I did, yeah.
That is a hard task to do. Not a lot of people get to say that they've done that. So whatever it is you're doing, it is clearly working.
Yeah.
But I know what you're saying, though, if you were to say content creator, it's a bit like, okay.
People are like, you don't have a job then, do you? Just go and I'm like, no, I have worked really hard for like 6 years on this. So
almost like someone saying, I think there's that joke of, I'm an actor. All right, what restaurant are you working?
Yeah, exactly. People's mind automatically go there. So I normally go with vocal coach.
Vocal coach, singer, songwriter, content creator. If you could only do one of them for the rest of your days, which one are you picking?
Oh God, I cannot. This is the problem with me. As I've said, I have to be doing lots of different things at the same time. Like I really love teaching. I love my time with my students. I love sitting down and creating things and like spending the time. If I had to do only one of those things, then I'd probably get fed up. But I need to the thing that energizes me for my students is that I'm out doing content creating, and the thing that feeds into my content is that I'm teaching all the time. So I can't really.
They'll come.
Yeah, I can't pull them apart.
So you're super busy. What is the plans for the rest of 2025?
So at the moment, I'm creating a course. So I'm working on that. So, a course that has gone all round and about the houses. But it's actually going to be a series of mini courses that people can pick up. But these are going to be for beginners. And then that's what I'm working on at the moment. I'm still creating lots of content on my channel. Yep. And that is probably most of this year getting that done. But we'll see. I'm not short of ideas. I'm just short of time to do all the ideas. Yeah.
And before we finish up, I like to ask some fun questions. So I'll ask these random questions. You tell me what pops into your mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So imagine you could go back in time, anywhere in the world, big gig, small gig, I'll let you decide. What is the one concert that you wish you could have attended?
Probably it has to be the big Live Aid, Freddie Mercury, seeing all that,
I think that's been the most popular answer to date on the channel, followed by probably Woodstock or something like that. Yeah. That's fine. As you know, lots of great bands, great musicians, artists have wrote songs across the years, recorded them. What's the one song you wish you could have sat in the recording studio to witness the song being recorded?
Oh, I don't know. To witness it being recorded, because my mind is being like, nah, that's going to be so chaotic. That's going to be what would be really fun. I think I would like to. I think I'm down this rabbit hole in my mind. So probably Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen, and just working out all those parts and seeing how they all fit together. Oh.
So you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
How's your singing voice now compared to, for example, 15 years ago? Has it changed? Because obviously your voice is an instrument. Your voice will naturally age.
Yeah.
You can't stop that from happening. You've got a guitar, you restring it, you give it a clean, and it can sound just as good as you got it 30 years ago or however long ago it was. Has your singing voice changed?
It has, but I say it's got better. And I say that because, when I was younger, I definitely could do stuff like hit more high whistle notes.
Yep.
We don't need them so much, right? It's fine. But the tone of my voice has got warmer and fuller, and the stability it's got so much more stable, and I've got so much more control throughout the years of just singing a lot that I would definitely prefer this voice to my 20-year-old self voice.
I asked, I had Meg Ayesa on, who was the lead in We Will Rock You in the West End. He was almost the singer for INXS as well.
Oh, cool.
Really cool. And I think he's 50 now, and I'd said to him, has your voice changed? And he gave a really good answer. He'd said he didn't feel like his voice had changed. The difference is that he has to prepare now. Back when he was in his 20s, he could just jump up on stage and do it.
Yeah.
Now, if he knows he's singing that night, he's got to have voice rest, plenty of water, honey and lemon, all the little tricks of the trade to kind of keep it going. But it's a good one. You'd also said you played the saxophone. Not so much now. Is there an instrument that you wish that you could play?
Yeah, the cello. I think it's beautiful.
Right, okay. You obviously like your musicals as well. What's the one musical you've not seen yet that you wish that you could see?
That I have not seen. I've seen a lot. What have I not seen? Is there something that's been on Broadway? I've seen a lot of musicals. I think this is the problem. All the main things.
What's been your favourite one so far?
You know what? I tell you what. I'd like to see. I've seen Cabaret, but I would have liked to have seen it when it had Jessie Buckley in it, and
Right.
I didn't see it then. I saw it like later on. It had him and what's that actor called? Eddie Redmayne, and I wanted to see that.
Right.
I thought that'd be super interesting because he's such an interesting actor, and she's just a brilliant voice and actress as well. So I would have liked to have seen that.
That's fine. Singing, songwriting, you do a bit of that. If you could collaborate with another artist to write a song, who do you think would be quite cool to sit down with and bounce ideas off of?
The people that I would love to, but I'd also be terrified of, would be Jacob Collier. That guy is amazing. And Aurora. Do you know Aurora? She's like a Swedish
I
singer-songwriter.
know the name, I don't know any of her stuff though.
Yeah, she's like floaty. I think she'd just be fun to be in the studio with, and she's very creative.
Cool. And last question, Mount Rushmore. I know the answer could probably change each day, but for today, who are the 4 bands or artists for yourself that, whether it be songwriting, whether it be performance, whether it be the overall package, who are the 4 for yourself that you see as perfection?
Perfection doesn't exist. Okay, right, so we got... I've gone for Queen today. I've gone for... Perfection artists. They have to be bands. Could it be solo artists?
You choose, it's up to you.
Okay, we're going for Queen. We're going for Jacob Collier because that was like my best concert ever.
Yep.
Random rogue one, Ian Audi. Freaking love just some chill classical music. We are going for The Who, which are a Tuvan throat singing metal band. Another awesome thing that I've been to see. And for just a little bit of 90s soul, I'm going for Alanis Morissette.
All right, okay. There you go. She's retro now.
Yes.
We've got that old, that our childhood is now retro.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure to speak to you. I do look forward to continuing to see all your content that you bring out.
Thank
and
you.
wish you all the continued success, whether it be vocal coach, whether it be your songs coming out. I'll keep an eye on all of it. And for anybody that's wanting to follow, obviously you are on social media. They can subscribe, follow, support you with each of your ventures. And I do wish you all continued success as well.
Thank you so much, Ian. Lovely to meet
Cheers,
you.
pal.